You know what drives me crazy? Watching someone confidently give car advice that's completely wrong. And I'm not talking about your uncle at a party. I'm talking about myths that literally millions of drivers believe are facts. According to a 2023 AAA survey, over 70% of American drivers admit to following at least one piece of car maintenance advice that mechanics say is completely outdated or just plain false. We're busting 15 of the most common car myths that make even experienced drivers look foolish. Trust me, you've probably believed at least 3 of these. Premium gas makes any car run better. Start with one that costs people hundreds of dollars every year for absolutely no benefit. Premium gas does not make your regular car run better, perform faster, or last longer. Here's the truth. Unless your owner's manual specifically requires premium fuel, you're literally pouring money down the drain. Regular gas has an octane rating of 87, while premium sits at 91 or 93. Higher octane just means the fuel resists pre-ignition better in high-compression engines. Most modern cars are designed to run perfectly on regular gas. According to Fuel Economy, only about 16% of vehicles on the road actually require premium fuel. They're engineered for regular unleaded. People swear their Toyota Camry runs smoother on premium. That's called the placebo effect. The wallet feels lighter, so there's an assumption something good must be happening. Consumer Reports tested this extensively in 2019. And found zero performance improvement in cars designed for regular gas. That's about $400 a year saved just by sticking with what the manual recommends. Myth number 14, you should change your oil every 3,000 miles. This one's a classic, and it's made quick-lube shops very rich. The 3,000-mile oil change is one of the most persistent automotive myths out there, and it's costing drivers serious money. Modern synthetic oils and improved engine technology have completely changed the game. Most new cars can go 7,500 to 10,000 miles between oil changes, and some even push 15,000 miles. Check the owner's manual. That's where the real recommendation from the engineers who actually built the engine lives. The 3,000-mile myth dates back to the 1970s, when oil quality was genuinely poor and engines were less efficient. A 2019 study by Edmunds found that following manufacturer recommendations instead of the outdated 3,000-mile rule saves the average driver between $150 and $300 annually. Quick lube chains love this myth because it gets customers in the door twice as often as necessary. Now, there are exceptions. Lots of short trips, towing heavy loads, or driving in extreme conditions might need more frequent changes. But for most people doing normal driving, the manual knows better than the guy trying to upsell air fresheners. Number 13, warming up your car in winter is necessary. Countless neighbors idle their cars for 10, 15, even 20 minutes on cold mornings. They say they're warming up the engine to protect it. Turns out, they're actually doing the opposite. Modern fuel-injected engines don't need extended warm-up periods. According to the EPA and Department of Energy, 30 seconds is plenty, just enough time to clear windows and buckle up. When cars idle for extended periods, the engine runs at its least efficient temperature, which actually causes more wear and tear. The Washington Post reported in 2020 that idling wastes about a half gallon of fuel per hour while contributing to engine deposits and cylinder wear. Why? Because engines warm up faster when they're actually being driven. Sitting still keeps everything cold longer, which means more time running in that inefficient zone where fuel doesn't combust completely. The confusion comes from old carbureted engines that genuinely did need warming up. But unless the car is from before the mid-1990s, it's just burning gas and creating pollution. Drive gently for the first few minutes instead. That's all modern engines need. Myth number 12, you need to replace all 4 tires at once. Walk into a tire shop with one damaged tire, and there's a good chance someone will say all 4 absolutely must be replaced. Sometimes that's true. Often, it's not. The reality depends on the vehicle. For all-wheel drive and 4-wheel drive vehicles, yes, Tread depth needs to stay consistent across all 4 tires to avoid damaging the drivetrain. The differences in diameter from mismatched tread can cause real problems with systems that constantly distribute power to all wheels. But for front-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive cars, if tires have decent tread left and only 1 or 2 need replacing, usually just the damaged ones can be swapped. The rule of thumb from most tire manufacturers is that tread depth shouldn't vary by more than 4/32 of an inch across an axle. Tire Rack conducted tests in 2021 showing that on 2-wheel drive vehicles, replacing tires in pairs on the same axle maintains safe handling characteristics. Put the new tires on the rear axle regardless of which wheels drive the car. That prevents oversteer, which is way more dangerous than understeer. The replace all 4 push is partly safety-minded and partly profit-motivated. Know the vehicle's drive system and check those tread depths before dropping $1,000 on tires that aren't needed yet. Myth number 11. Manual transmissions always get better gas mileage. For decades, this was gospel truth. Manual transmissions were lighter, more efficient, and put drivers in control of exactly when to shift. But that was then. Modern automatic transmissions have become incredibly sophisticated. We're talking 8-speed, 9-speed, even 10-speed automatics with computer-controlled shifting that's more precise than any human driver. According to EPA fuel economy data, many current cars actually get better mileage with their automatic transmission option than with the manual. Car and Driver tested this in 2022 across multiple vehicles and found that automatics matched or exceeded manual fuel economy in about 60% of cases. Take the 2024 Honda Civic. The CVT automatic gets 32 mpg city and 42 highway, while the manual gets 29 city and 37 highway. The computer simply shifts more efficiently than most drivers. The real kicker, dual clutch automatics and CVTs eliminate the power interruption that happens when pressing a clutch pedal. That means smoother, more efficient power delivery. Plus, most people don't shift at optimal RPMs for fuel economy. Shifting happens when it feels right, which isn't always when it's most efficient. Manuals are still fun. They absolutely are. But justifying a stick shift as a fuel economy choice in 2025? That's fighting yesterday's battle. Myth number 10. Aftermarket parts. Void your warranty. This myth keeps people paying dealer prices for basic maintenance, and it's based on a misunderstanding of federal law. The Magnuson-Moss Warranty Act of 1975 makes it illegal for manufacturers to void warranties simply because aftermarket parts were used or an independent shop did the work. Here's what actually matters. The aftermarket part or service can't be the cause of a failure. If aftermarket brake pads get installed and then the transmission fails, the manufacturer can't use those brake pads as an excuse to deny the warranty claim. They'd have to prove the aftermarket part caused the specific failure. Consumer Reports clarified this in 2021 after surveying readers who'd been told otherwise by dealerships. The Federal Trade Commission even sent warning letters to multiple automakers in 2018 for using language that implied aftermarket parts would automatically void warranties. Now, there are smart exceptions to consider. If a truck gets lifted 6 inches and then the suspension fails, good luck with that warranty claim. The burden of proof is technically on the manufacturer, but nobody wants to be arguing about cause and effect. Use quality aftermarket parts and follow the maintenance schedule in the owner's manual. Dealer visits for oil changes aren't required to keep warranties valid, despite what their service departments might suggest. Myth number 9. You should inflate tires to the PSI on the tire sidewall. Look at a tire sidewall. See that number that says something like max press 51 psi? That's the maximum pressure the tire can safely handle, not the recommended pressure for the vehicle. Using that number is like going the speed limit the car is capable of, rather than the speed limit on the road. The correct tire pressure for any vehicle is on a sticker inside the driver's door jamb, or sometimes in the owner's manual. It's based on the vehicle's weight, handling characteristics, and how the engineers designed it to perform. For most passenger cars, that's somewhere between 30 and 35 psi. According to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, about 1 in 4 cars has at least one significantly underinflated tire. But overinflation causes problems too: reduced traction, harder ride quality, and uneven tire wear down the center of the tread. The tire pressure monitoring system in modern cars has helped, but those warning lights typically only trigger when pressure drops 25% below the recommended level. That means driving around 5 or 6 psi low is possible before ever getting a warning. Check pressure monthly with a decent gauge, especially when temperatures change. For every 10-degree drop in temperature, about 1 psi gets lost. And check them cold, meaning the car's been sitting for at least 3 hours. Driving heats up tires and increases pressure, so false readings happen if checking them after driving to the gas station. Myth number 8. Engine flushes are essential maintenance. Walk into some quick-lube places, and they'll try to sell an engine flush like it's as necessary as an oil change. They'll show scary dark fluid and talk about sludge buildup. Most of the time, it's not needed. If oil changes have been happening regularly with quality oil, the engine is cleaning itself with every oil change. Modern motor oils contain detergents specifically designed to keep engines clean. An engine flush is basically a chemical cleaner that circulates through the engine before an oil change, supposedly dissolving deposits. The problem? Mechanics and engineers generally agree that engine flushes can do more harm than good. Those deposits might actually be sealing small leaks or worn areas. Dissolve them suddenly, and new problems might appear. Worse, the harsh chemicals can damage seals and gaskets. Scotty Kilmer, a mechanic with over 50 years of experience, has repeatedly warned against engine flushes on his YouTube channel, which has millions of subscribers. He points out that if oil changes have been neglected so badly that an engine is full of sludge, a chemical flush isn't going to save it anyway. The legitimate use case? When buying a used car with an unknown maintenance history, some mechanics recommend it as a one-time reset before establishing a good maintenance routine. But as regular maintenance, it's unnecessary and potentially harmful. Stick with regular oil changes using quality oil, and engines stay clean on their own. Myth number 7. You should wash your car with dish soap. This seems logical, right? Dish soap cuts through grease on dishes, so it should work great on cars. Wrong. Dish soap is designed to strip away oils and grease, which is exactly what shouldn't happen to car paint. Car finishes have protective waxes and sealants that create a barrier against the elements. Dish soap strips all of that away. According to auto detailing experts, using dish soap regularly can leave paint exposed to UV damage, water spots, and oxidation. The protection layer gets removed every time. Car wash soap is pH balanced and formulated to clean dirt without stripping wax or damaging clear. A decent car wash soap costs maybe $10 to $15 and lasts for months. The Professional Car Detailing Association recommends using products specifically designed for automotive finishes. Now, there is one exception. When about to apply a new coat of wax or sealant, some people do use dish soap specifically to strip the old protection so the new layer bonds better. But that's a deliberate prep step, not regular maintenance. The same goes for using household glass cleaner with ammonia on windows. It can damage window tint and rubber seals. Automotive glass cleaners exist for a reason. They're formulated to work with car materials without causing damage. Cars are probably the second most expensive thing most people own. Using the right products is worth the minimal extra cost. Myth number 6. A rusty battery terminal means the battery is bad. Pop the hood and see that white or blue crusty buildup around battery terminals. Must be time for a new battery, right? Not necessarily. Battery corrosion is usually just a symptom of battery acid vapor reacting with the metal terminals. It happens on old batteries and new batteries alike. The corrosion itself doesn't mean the battery is failing. It just means the terminals need cleaning. A mixture of baking soda and water neutralizes the acid and cleans off the corrosion in about 5 minutes. Disconnect the negative terminal first. Clean both terminals and cable ends with an old toothbrush and the baking soda solution. Rinse with water, dry everything, reconnect, positive first this time, and it's done. A little dielectric grease or petroleum jelly can be applied to help prevent future corrosion. According to Interstate Batteries, one of the largest battery manufacturers in North America, corrosion actually restricts electrical flow and can make a good battery seem weak. Clean those terminals and the battery might suddenly work perfectly again. The real signs of a failing battery: slow cranking when starting the car, dimming headlights, or the battery being more than 3 to 5 years old. Most auto parts stores will test batteries for free. Get it tested before replacing it based on some crusty buildup. That said, if the corrosion is excessive and keeps coming back rapidly, there might be a charging system problem or a battery that's leaking. But in most cases, it's just normal chemical reaction that needs a quick cleaning. Myth number 5, filling up in the morning gets you more gas. The theory sounds scientific. Gas is denser when it's cold. So filling up in the morning means getting more fuel for the money because the gas hasn't expanded in the heat yet. People have been repeating this one for decades. The problem is that gas stations store fuel in underground tanks, usually buried 3 to 4 feet deep, where the temperature stays relatively constant regardless of what the air temperature is doing. We're talking maybe a 1 or 2 degree variation throughout the day, not the 20 or 30 degree swings at the surface. The U.S. Department of Energy looked into this and found that any density difference from temperature variation at retail gas stations is negligible. There might theoretically be a few extra ounces of gas from temperature differences, but we're talking cents worth of fuel at most. Plus, modern gas pumps in the United States compensate for temperature automatically in many jurisdictions. They're calibrated to deliver a standardized gallon at 60 degrees Fahrenheit, adjusting for temperature variations. Want to save money on gas? Focus on things that actually matter. Maintain proper tire pressure, avoid aggressive driving, remove unnecessary weight from the car, and use apps to find the cheapest gas prices in the area. These tactics save actual money, not theoretical pennies based on the time of day for filling up. The morning fill-up myth is a perfect example of something that sounds smart but doesn't hold up under real-world conditions. Myth number 4, you can't use your phone while pumping gas. We've all seen the warning signs. No cell phones while refueling. Some people panic if they see someone on their phone at the pump. The myth is that cell phone signals can ignite gasoline vapors and cause an explosion. Sounds terrifying. Also not true. The Federal Communications Commission, the American Petroleum Institute, and even Mythbusters tackled this one. There's never been a confirmed case of a cell phone causing a fire at a gas station. The supposed documented cases that circulate online are either completely fabricated or were caused by static electricity, not the phone itself. Think about it. Gas station employees handle radio scanners and communication devices all day. Wireless credit card readers work at every pump. If radio frequency emissions could ignite gasoline, we'd see explosions constantly. The real danger at gas pumps is static electricity. Getting in and out of the car while fueling can build up a static charge. Touch the pump nozzle afterward without discharging that static first, and there might be a spark. That's why the signs tell people to stay outside their vehicle while pumping, not because of phones, but because sliding across the seat creates static. According to the Petroleum Equipment Institute, there have been over 250 documented cases of static-related fires at gas stations. 0 from cell phones. The phone warnings are outdated holdovers from the early days of mobile phones, when there were theoretical concerns about RF interference. So yes, use the phone at the pump if needed. Just don't get back in the car and then touch the nozzle. That's the actual risk. Myth number 3. Letting your car run out of gas is fine. Running on fumes to squeeze out every last mile before filling up seems harmless enough. It's not. This habit can cause real damage to the fuel system and cost way more than the gas saved by pushing it to empty. Modern fuel pumps are cooled and lubricated by the gasoline in the tank. When the tank runs too low, the pump starts pulling in air along with fuel, which causes the pump to overheat. Do this repeatedly, and the fuel pump's lifespan gets cut significantly short. Replacing a fuel pump typically costs between $400 and $600 for parts and labor. There's also sediment that settles at the bottom of gas tanks over time. When running on empty, that debris gets sucked into the fuel system. It can clog the fuel filter, injectors, or even damage the engine. According to automotive engineers, keeping the tank at least a quarter full prevents the fuel pump from working harder than it needs to. AAA recommends never letting the tank drop below a quarter full, especially in winter. Why winter? If the tank is nearly empty and it's cold outside, condensation can form inside the tank. That water can freeze in fuel lines and cause starting problems or damage. The fuel gauge warning light typically comes on when there's about 2 to 3 gallons left, which sounds like plenty. But that's assuming the gauge is accurate and the tank is on level ground. Running it down to the light repeatedly is gambling with an expensive repair. Fill up when the tank hits a quarter full. The few extra stops to the gas station are worth avoiding a fuel pump replacement. Myth number 2, you need to use the brand of oil recommended by your dealer. Dealers love to tell customers they need to use the specific brand of oil they sell, often at a premium price. What matters is the oil specification, not the brand name. The owner's manual lists specific requirements like 5W30 for viscosity and certifications like APISN Plus or ILSAC GF6. Any oil that meets those specifications will work perfectly, regardless of whether it's the dealer's brand or a quality alternative from an auto parts store. Motor oil is one of the most regulated products in the automotive industry. If a bottle says it meets the specifications in the manual, it legally has to meet those standards. According to the American Petroleum Institute, oils that carry their certification mark have been tested to meet strict performance requirements. The confusion often comes from dealers using proprietary blends or special names for what's essentially standard synthetic oil. They might call it genuine Honda oil or Ford Motorcraft. But if another brand meets the same specifications listed in the manual, it's functionally identical. Consumer Reports tested this in 2020 and found that store-brand synthetic oils from retailers like Walmart and Costco perform just as well as expensive dealer brands in standardized tests. Some of these store brands are even manufactured by the same companies that make the name brand oils. Save the money. Buy quality oil that meets the specifications, change it on schedule, and the engine will be just fine. The dealer markup on oil can be 50% or more compared to buying it elsewhere. Myth number 1. Premium cars require premium maintenance schedules. Here's where things get expensive fast. Many people believe that luxury or premium brands need more frequent maintenance than regular cars. Oil changes every 3,000 miles, special treatments, more frequent inspections. Dealers for premium brands encourage this belief because it's incredibly profitable. The reality? Premium cars follow the same basic maintenance principles as economy cars. Check the owner's manual, not what the dealer recommends. A Mercedes or BMW requires the same physics-based maintenance intervals as a Honda or Toyota. Oil doesn't break down faster just because the badge costs more. Where premium cars differ is in the cost when something does need fixing, and occasionally in the complexity of systems. A premium car might have more sophisticated technology that requires specialized tools or training. But the idea that premium cars need maintenance twice as often? That's pure marketing. Edmunds analyzed maintenance schedules across dozens of brands in 2021 and found that luxury brands generally recommend similar intervals to mainstream brands for basic maintenance. The difference was in labor costs and parts prices, not frequency. Some premium brands even have longer intervals than economy cars. Many European luxury cars recommend oil changes every 10,000 miles with full synthetic oil, while their owners get scared into 5,000-mile changes by dealers. That's $200 wasted twice a year. Before spending thousands on recommended premium maintenance, read what the engineers who built the car actually. The dealer's service department has a vested interest in seeing customers more often. The manual doesn't. So this was our myth list. Drop a comment and let everyone know which myth surprised you the most. And if you found this helpful, make sure to subscribe because we're constantly breaking down more automotive myths and money-saving tips that dealerships don't want you to know. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.